Hello, beautiful souls. I hope that you're having a wonderful day on this full moon in Capricorn. If you're not having such a wonderful day, we are definitely going to be talking about it today because there's definitely been some heavier energies moving about the collective as a build up to this full moon that we are experiencing today and tomorrow. I did mean to look at the chart to kind of tap in a little more to kind of get a feel for what the energies are saying, but I forgot to do that. So we're just going to kind of flow with it and see what wants to come through. The first thing I did want to speak about, and it's something that's been very present in my life so far, has been that more depressive kind of tendency and flow that has been moving. I want to say more subconsciously through the collective. You might be experiencing thoughts or feelings of depression and sadness and not inherently know why. Some of us might be experiencing deep grief. We might be experiencing shame and guilt. So I did want to take today's session to kind of illuminate these darker emotions that we often feel conditioned to hide away and to keep private. And I wanted to just bring it to the surface because these are emotions and aspects of ourselves that are deserving of acknowledgement, and they deserve to be seen, they deserve to be witnessed. I saw a couple reels earlier today talking about how there might be some depression and sadness flowing about the collective around this full moon, and I wanted to just take the time today to really express it and to give it a voice. And to let you know that if this is a state of flow that you have personally been experiencing, this does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. We tend to overly focus on the positive aspects of our lives on social media, and very few of us have the bravery and the courage to come on here and share our grief, share our pain, and share openly that we've had feelings of depression. And there's a lot of shame and guilt around these darker emotions, and it's an understanding that when we allow guilt and shame to close up our throat chakras and to not express, the pain and the grief and whatever we're experiencing becomes even heavier. So there's a need for us to express this darkness and to do so in a place of safety. And it's understanding that there's not many places that offer this safety. And it's an understanding that you will find these places of safety when someone is able to meet you in your darkness, when someone is able to meet you in your pain, and when someone is able to meet you in your grief. And you will be able to pick up on this energy because you will sense it within the person's aura. They will radiate a sense of calmness, and they will radiate also a sense of just welcomeness to your energy. You might even feel an easier time energetically releasing around this person. Tears might just come through naturally without much effort on your part. And it's an understanding that the people that are able to create these safe spaces for you to show up in all of your emotions are people that have mastered their own emotions and that are able to hold space for their own emotionality. If you are going through a hard time and you're unable to connect with someone that's able to hold this space, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, but more so that the other person has yet to cultivate that sense of inner safety and emotional mastery within themselves. So if ever you're moving through grief and it's something that's just been weighing heavy on your heart and you want to share it with close friends and they change the subject or they tell you to keep a positive outlook, understand that this isn't to shame your guilt, your grief, whatever you might be experiencing in that moment, but it's more so to illuminate the fact that they might not be the right outlet for you to express those heavier emotions. And again, there's nothing wrong with you or wrong with them. It's just not the right environment. And that's okay. It's pushing you to seek out those people that are able to meet you in your grief, in your pain, in your sadness, and that those people are out there. As I said, we tend to like to keep it easy, breezy, comfortable on social media, and it's not reflective of reality. If more people showed their realities, I think we might actually experience less depression because we would feel less alone. So I'm on here today to let you know, if you've been on the sadder side of things, if you've been feeling depressive, you're not alone. I've been personally moving through those energies myself, and it's been fucking heavy. I haven't been enjoying it, but at the same time, I know it's Spirit's way to just move things through me. And it's also understanding sometimes you just go through these darker emotions and they just are. And I want to bring in the connection to Mother Gaia. When she has a storm, like it's cloudy where I am right now, it might rain. It just does. And we're like, oh, it's raining, or oh, it's sunny. And we operate in very much the same way. We have rainy days, we have sunny days. They just are. And sometimes there's a deeper lesson to be gained on the rainy days. But sometimes it's just a rainy day. We need to just be fully present with the rain. Let it have its way with us till it's done. And that's it. We need to just fully be present. That's all our emotions often require, is full presence. And I'd say fierce compassion also, because especially as we move through our most turbulent of storms, we need to be fiercely compassionate for ourselves. And if we are holding space for a loved one that is going through a particular violent storm, we need to be fierce with our compassion too. Because depending on the level of darkness of the depressive episode you might be going through, the grief or the sadness, that fierce love needs to come through and support the other person. And I'm being kind of moved to flip the script to being the support person. When you're there witnessing someone in their rage, in their anger, in their grief, it's not about you in that moment. It's about simply bearing witness to the emotion that's being expressed. That's it. It's very simple, but it's very hard to master because it means you need to be able to personally hold space for yourself. And the best people at holding space are people that are able to hold space for themselves, their own storms, their own chaos. So if things have been turbulent for you, I see you, I feel you, I hold space for you. You are not alone as you navigate these darker aspects of yourself. And if you need support, feel free to reach out. There are people that will meet you in your darkness. There are people that will meet you in your pain and in your grief. They are out there. So with that being said, I did want to move into the energy of the full moon being in Capricorn. So with the kind of depressive sadness vibe I've been picking up on, Capricorn's shadow aspects can be depression, it can be pessimism. And as I tapped into this energy and really felt into it, I really felt called to illuminate and tap into the fact that Capricorn is symbolized by being half goat and half fish. It has a fishtail, and that's an aspect of Capricorn that is often overlooked. And it is a symbol of Capricorn's inherent connection not only to the earth realm, but also the water realm. We often forget that Capricorn is just as connected to water as the water signs. And we tend to hyper-focus, I'd say, on Capricorn's earth abilities. We often picture the goat climbing desolate terrains. We picture a goat climbing a mountain, or when we think of Capricorn energy, we think about that mountain that we set for ourselves as our vision, as our goal. We think about material success. We think about finances. And these are all aspects of Capricorn that ring true. But then we also forget Capricorn's mystical side. It has a fishtail, which means it can swim in water. It can be emotional. It can be stormy. It can be chaotic. And it's just as comfortable on land as it is in water. So there's a deep, mystical, ethereal side to Capricorn that we don't often think about or tap into. And under this full moon, this is the aspect that wants to be illuminated, is more so Capricorn's mystical, ethereal, spiritual side. It's Capricorn's emotional side. So with that being said, in terms of wheel reading, I wanted to draw cards in the hopes that it illuminates the emotional maturation you've gone through, and to kind of give you some acknowledgement for what you've gone through and what you've accomplished on the more emotional side of things, because we're quick to acknowledge material success, promotions, salary increases, new jobs, but we seldom take the time to acknowledge changes in character, in personality, how we show up. Maybe we get less triggered by things. Maybe we're more calm. Maybe we display more peace and serenity, or maybe we've become more compassionate when we used to be very cruel. These are all aspects of self-mastery that remain intangible. So we don't often take the time to highlight them, to acknowledge them, and to celebrate them. So under this full moon, I would like to take the time, and it would be my deepest pleasure, to draw cards and highlight your deepest emotional accomplishment at this point in time. So without further ado, we are going to go through the astrological wheel. I'm going to go through Capricorn placements. So we are going to start with Capricorn in the first house and make our way all the way to Capricorn in the 12th house. So I'm really excited for this. When this insight came through to just more so highlight emotional accomplishments and success, I was just like, fuck yeah, that sounds wonderful. So let's get into it. If you have Capricorn in the first house, or also known as Capricorn rising or ascendant, this is going to be your emotional acknowledgement, celebration, accomplishment. We'll see what wants to come out. Let's see. Ooh, okay. I love this first card. Okay, so Capricorn in the first house. We have Sky Bridge. Possibility for union coming through as your celebration card, message, however you want to take it, whatever resonates in. Just look at the beauty of this card. There's so much going on. As I'm holding the card this way, the first thing that catches my attention are these steps leading to, I'm going to say, the sun. So this is full soulful maturity that Capricorn in the first house, you are on the path to achieving and experiencing in this lifetime. Some might even call it enlightenment or inner luminosity, but Capricorn in the first house, this is the accomplishment that is coming through for you right now, is soulful illumination, being completely connected to your soul, which is fantastic. This is what people strive for. And you, Capricorn in the first house, this is what is destined for you, and you're already on the path. So Spirit is coming through to acknowledge that you've already taken that first step. You are here on this first rock, And you have all these other steps leading to this illumination that is going to happen in this lifetime. And Spirit is coming through to say, celebrate being on this step, because a lot of people aren't even on that first step. But you, Capricorn, in the first are. And we also have the word sky bridge here. So when I think of sky bridge, I think of connections between different realms. So we have the word sky bridge. So to me, this kind of indicates there's a bridge between maybe the earth realm to the ethereal realm. But as we were talking earlier about Capricorn being earth and water, we could also foresee this as being a bridge between earth and water taking place as well, subconsciously. So this indicates to me, Capricorn in the first house, that you're starting to connect a lot of different aspects of yourselves. You are starting to bridge and spread as well as expand your consciousness when it comes to your sense of self. And there's just this light pouring in for you, Capricorn, in the first house. A lot of things are being illuminated since you've begun this spiritual journey and spiritual quest. So Spirit is really coming through to applaud you for taking that first step, which is often very difficult. And interestingly enough, I'm seeing these two pillars as mother and father. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm getting mother and father energy coming through for you. Maybe the guiding kind of posts for your illumination happen to be your mother and your father. I'm also picking up grandparents. So it could be looking into your ancestral bloodline a little further. But I'm definitely hearing introspective journey. Because illumination often happens from the inside out. So there's definitely a theme of taking the time to turn inwards and to build these bridges that are not tangible just yet. These are intangible bridges happening within you. You are starting to connect more dots. Maybe you're starting to see different patterns between certain habits. And you're connecting them to how your mother was while you were growing up, or how your father was growing up. And it's these connections, it's these synchronicities that are going to guide you up these steps to illumination. And with the word possibility for union, I'm definitely sensing that this is inner union taking place. These pillars are taking on divine feminine and divine masculine energy. So in order to seek and achieve this inner luminosity, there needs to be emotional balance between the feminine and the masculine radiating and pouring out of you, Capricorn, in the first house. And we also have the 4 and the 7. And right now the 4 is coming through again as that masculine energy. If we think of the 4, we think of the 4th card in the tarot, which is the Emperor. So really anchored in leadership, clear sight and vision for the life he wants to create. And then we have the 7. The 7 has different kind of connotations and meanings, but right now what wants to come through is that more mystical side, which I'm attributing to the divine feminine. So we have the divine masculine on this side that's going to help create that physical life you aspire to have. And then we also have the divine feminine coming through as that more mystical side that is... Sorry, I'm getting a visual, but I'm going to try and put it into words. Kind of breathing life into the earth creations you want to build. For some of you, it might be physical buildings that you aspire to create in this life. And it's tapping into your divine feminine energy and really allowing it to breathe life into your creation. So a big theme for you right now, Capricorn, in the first house is this inner union between the masculine and the feminine. And it's understanding that as soon as you can make peace between both these energies within yourself, illumination becomes that much closer and you start to progress up this bridge into the heavens. So well done, Capricorn, in the first house. You have taken that first step. Well done. Take some time. Please celebrate yourself. This is huge. That first step is often the hardest. And you have begun your soulful journey, Capricorn, in the first house. Celebrate yourself and take some time to highlight how far you have come. It is definitely worth it. We are now going to move in to Capricorn in the second house. So if you have this placement or this resonates, this is going to be your message highlighting any soulful or emotional success you've been experiencing or character development, any of that wants to be plotted. Okay, so we have fallen angel, spiritual narcolepsy. And it came through in reverse. So actually, I think I'm just going to find out what that word actually means real quick. They're referring to the guy. I mean, there's no real definition as to what that means. So I'm just going to go with what my gut instinct is saying. So spiritual narcolepsy to me is kind of meaning being paralyzed, not taking action, waiting on the sidelines, maybe also being in denial about certain things. But with this card being in reverse, this indicates that for you, Capricorn, in the second house, you have moved out of this energy. You are taking the necessary action to make your dreams a reality. And we also have the number 19 here. So 9 plus 1 gives us a 10. So there's completion. You are completing something. And with Capricorn being in the second house does have to do with finances. It does have to do with material possessions. And it's also the house that rules our value system. So the completion could have anything to do with any of those aspects, given that we are currently in the second house. And it's understanding that you have moved out of stagnation. So I'm not getting a specific example or insight that's coming through right now. It could be different for each and every one of you. Whatever it is you have moved on from in regards to the second house. I'm just going to take a sip of water. I'm also getting with the fallen angel here, this could have been a person that you kind of moved away from. Maybe this was a business partner that was dragging you down, or maybe it was a colleague or someone at work that wasn't pulling their weight, but they are being removed. Okay, now the insights are starting to come through. Okay, for some of you, this does have to do with work. That there was someone that was just causing strife and stress, and either they've been released from the workplace or they are going to be released from the workplace within the next 4 to 7 days, give or take, from when you decide to watch this. But this person, this energy is clearing out of your energy field. And I did say the theme was going to be more so emotional acknowledgement and success, but there's definitely finances tied to the second house because it does rule finances. So there are financial benefits that are going to be coming through for you, Capricorn, in the second house for sure, with this energy being cleared out. I'm also feeling the kind of paralysis that might have been going on in the workspace or wherever this was happening, and it kind of stunted your growth. You might have felt really restricted, limited by this person, whoever this is, and now you're going to be able to unfold and move forward because, again, we have that 10 energy coming through. So we've completed a hard cycle. So If things have been particularly challenging for you in this environment, whatever this is, you're mastering the lesson that you were meant to master. And again, this is going to be different for each and every one of you. So if it had to do with finances, you're going to master that. If it had to do with work or managing coworkers, you're going to master that. If it has to do with your values and remaining in alignment, you're going to master that. So there's a big lesson being completed and achieved for Capricorn in the second house right now. And I'm very curious. So if you have this placement, feel free to share with me in the comments what this is, because I'm very curious about it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that wants to come through, but I think that's it for Capricorn in the second house. So the emotional celebration or acknowledgement that wants to come through is that you are completing the cycle. And this cycle, again, is going to be different for each and every one of you. So whatever it is, take some time and celebrate it. Acknowledge it. And know that there's going to be strong momentum pushing you forward once this situation has resolved. I'm kind of seeing the imagery of clouds just being taken by a gust of wind. So again, if things have been stagnating, you felt constricted and kind of paralyzed by your environment, things are going to start moving a lot quicker and a lot swifter for you in the upcoming weeks. Months for some of you, but it's mainly weeks that this momentum is really going to pick up. All right, so that was the message for Capricorn in the second house. We are now going to move into Capricorn in the third house and see what kind of emotional success, accomplishment, or acknowledgement wants to come through for you. So let's see. Capricorn in the third house. Okay, that's too many cards. Ooh, okay. So we have Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. Alright, so I'm getting kind of different timelines for this house. The first one that wants to come through is that for some of my Capricorns in the third house, there's been too many choices and there's been a hard time in making a decision. But some of you, you've made decisions, and some of you might actually have made decisions today, and you're committing to a certain path. For those of you that have not yet made a decision, you are going to in the upcoming weeks, and it's really going to shift your energy and get you to commit to a path. Because some of my Capricorns in the third house, similar to my Capricorns in the second house, you've kind of felt stuck. But instead of feeling stuck and kind of paralyzed like Capricorn in the second house, you've kind of been all over the place with your energy, going back and forth of, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? And we're kind of having a sense of calmness coming through. And it's interesting because even though we have an orb here holding a bunch of different objects, I kind of see this orb as being the full moon itself. So the full moon, you might find, actually illuminates the decision you need to make. So between today or tomorrow, from whenever you watch this, because even though the full moon is happening today as I'm recording this, all my readings are intended to be timeless, because time isn't real. So whenever you see this, know that there's going to be an illumination happening that will help you make that decision. And it's interesting because as I took a closer look at this card, I was curious to know if both swords looked exactly the same, and they do, or if they were going to be different. So we have two swords that are identical. We have some kind of crystal, and then we have a bee. So at first, if the swords were going to be different, I was going to say there's a bunch of different pathways opening up for you. But with the swords being the same, these are actually two pillars directing you towards something. And you actually have the bee as a guide coming through to make sure you stay on this pathway here. So even though you might be feeling confused, uncertain about your next steps and what it is you should be doing, the path is being carved for you. You just need to make a decision and, yes, bear the consequences of that decision. And it's understanding that with having Capricorn in the 3rd house, you need to rely on yourself. You have the inner strength and resilience to deal with whatever these consequences might be of this choice you make. Often we can be back and forth or kind of all over the place when it comes to making decisions because we remain afraid of the consequences. But right now, Capricorn in the 3rd house, you are being reminded that you have the inner strength to deal with consequences. And that if your strength is waning right now, you're not feeling it, you will get a boost of strength and confidence when it comes to making this decision. And so you have nothing to worry or fear. And then we also have these grapes down here. We have these leaves. And to me, this is symbolizing rich fertility, nourishment coming your way. And it's interesting because we have grapes, leaves, which is physical. And then we have like this crystal, or this could be like an ethereal form even. So there's kind of these two kind of energies moving through for Capricorn in the 3rd house right now. We have this physical concrete, and then we have this more kind of ethereal energy coming through between these two swords. And then we have this beautiful little bumblebee or bee here, which symbolizes a spirit guide. So the choice could have to do between more physical pursuits versus more ethereal spiritual pursuits. And it's interesting because we have the 20 here. So we have the 2, which connects us to the High Priestess in the tarot. And then we have the 0, which connects us to the Fool. And the Fool is all about stepping off that ledge, not knowing if anything's going to catch them. They just take that step into the void and trust. And the High Priestess is connected to the ethereal spiritual realm. She knows things that other people don't. She unveils what she knows in the appropriate time frame. So you might be kind of back and forth in regards to 2 choices. One that has to do with stability, security, more kind of traditional kind of pathway. And another one that's more kind of mysterious, unknown, spiritual, and ethereal over here. And it's knowing that none of these paths are wrong. Whatever path you choose to begin journeying upon is exactly what you need at this point in time. And it's knowing that if you're not happy with whatever path you choose, you can always create either a bridge, a trail that leads to the other one. You're that powerful that you can create another trail. You can create a bridge. You are not stuck in your decision. Spirit is just asking you to come through and commit to one under this full moon. And to just learn and to grow. Because you're heavenly protected as you make that decision, regardless of what it is. And you have the strength of character to deal with the consequences. So those are all the messages that want to come through for Capricorn in the 3rd house. Feel free to let me know how that resonates or doesn't resonate. I would love to hear from you. We are now going to move into Capricorn in the 4th house to see what spiritual or emotional acknowledgement or celebration the moon is currently illuminating for you. All right, so we have many masks, the authentic self, 38, but this card is coming through in reverse for Capricorn in the 4th house. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing on this card, I don't know if you can see it, but there's this person's face and then there's a bunch of other faces. So the first thing that Spirit actually wants to take some time to acknowledge and celebrate about you is that you have been diligently breaking ancestral traumas, curses, cycles. Whether you're consciously aware of this or not, you have been shifting the energetic timeline of your ancestral bloodline. And that requires a lot of work, a lot of healing, a lot of introspection. So I'm just going to reposition myself here. For some of my Capricorns in the 4th house, you have a grandfather that is coming through to say that he's very proud of what it is you are accomplishing and achieving in your life right in this moment. For some of you, I'm getting, there's like, I can't tell if this is one grandfather or multiple grandfathers coming through right now, but the grandfather that's coming through could have been well off and had a lot of money, and they might have been very stern and strict with you. But they're coming through to acknowledge the work you've been doing. For some of you, you might have chosen to become an artist, and while this grandfather was alive, he could have been just really strict and stern and not really understood your artistic endeavors and pursuits, but he's coming through now to say he completely understands and that he's proud. I mean, the 4th house is the house of roots, foundation, and family, so I can't say I'm surprised ancestors are coming through. The next message that wants to come through for my Capricorns in the 4th house is that you are going to be feeling more peace, more serenity. That's part of what's being illuminated under this full moon. So for some of you, there might have been issues with alcohol. There might have been mental health issues and struggles within your bloodline, but since you've been doing the inner work to break those cycles, maybe you're in therapy, maybe you're working with a coach or guide, since you are doing the work, you are going to receive and reap the reward. And that reward that's being reaped right now is peace, is serenity. So that is, and it's coming through actually as a blessing that Spirit wants to highlight that is in your life right now, or that will be coming into your life. I'm just going to take another sip of water. And yeah, I'm definitely getting that through you doing this work, either consciously or unconsciously, you are going to be revealing your authentic self, or have been revealing your authentic self. This is what's destined for you. So if you still feel as though you wear a mask here and there, what's destined for you in this lifetime is to be your authentic self, and is to not hide any aspect of your expression or who you are. And Spirit is saying, very similar to, I think it was Capricorn in the 1st house, you're already on the path to stepping into your authentic, soulful expression. And that's what wants to be highlighted today and celebrated and acknowledged. So even though you might still slip into wearing a mask here and there, you've taken steps to shed certain of those masks. And that needs to be celebrated and acknowledged. And for some of you, this has been a slow process and journey, and you have turtle spirit coming through, because as I was looking at the back of this card, this kind of looked like a turtle to me. So you have turtle spirit coming through to acknowledge the work you've been doing. And for some of you, you are building an emotional legacy for your family. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but that's what wants to come through. And that needs to be celebrated as well. So that's all the messages I'm getting for Capricorn in the 4th house. Feel free to let me know how that resonates or doesn't resonate. I would love to hear from you. We're now going to move into Capricorn in the 5th house. So we're going to see what kind of soulful, emotional accomplishment Spirit wants to highlight, and that the full moon wants to illuminate at this time. So let's see. Ooh, okay. So we have lost compass, getting back to integrity. 35 coming through. And this card came in reverse. So what I'm getting from this card right away is that for some of my Capricorns in the 5th house, you might have actually struggled with integrity and being in alignment with your true self. You might have felt inherently lost and kind of not knowing which way to turn, because as we look at this card, there's a bunch of different elements on here all around this compass. So you might have been like, this is my path, or this is my path, or this is what I'm meant to do, or this is how I'm meant to serve the collective, and things like that. And you might have just been spinning your compass without even knowing you were spinning your compass because you weren't rooted or grounded. But with this card coming through in reverse, this is indicating that you have been doing the inner work to get that clarity and that you are now rooted. And it's interesting because as I was just looking at all these aspects, elements around this card, as soon as I turned the card in reverse, I felt grounded just by looking at this number. And it's 35. Which makes an 8, and 8 is associated with the strength card in the tarot. So even though you might have felt out of touch, ungrounded, and kind of confused with how you were meant to show up and serve, you've gained strength through this confusion, through being lost. And it's experiencing that confusion, being disconnected from your own inner integrity, that's going to help you show up even more authentically in your service. Because I'm hearing that a lot of my Capricorns in the 5th house, you occupy a role of service, either as a volunteer, or it's your business, or it's your profession. And there was kind of a lot of confusion around you for some time, and the full moon is illuminating that this confusion has dissolved, has been released, has flown out of your energetic aura. And if you are still feeling confused and not yet anchored or grounded, clarity is coming. Being more centered and grounded is also coming. And I'm hearing in the upcoming weeks from whenever you watch this. And I'm also hearing that for some of you that might still be experiencing confusion or feeling lost, that warrants being celebrated. And the scene that's coming into my mind right now is the scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't remember which movie, but in order to find and rescue Jack Sparrow, they need to be lost. And I'm pretty sure it's Barbossa that makes sure that they're good and lost. And I think it's Will Turner that freaks out that by the fact that they're lost. But you see Barbossa, I'm pretty sure in that scene he just laughs. And it's acknowledging that even if you're confused and lost, you can still find humor in the moment, knowing that maybe your compass is just going to redirect you. And right now it's just spinning and spinning and spinning until it finds the right direction it wants to take you in. And that sometimes you need to just go along for the ride. It doesn't need to make any sense. There doesn't need to be a direction. You need to just put one foot in front of the other and keep walking. So that's what's coming through for you, Capricorn, in the 5th house. All right, we are now going to move into Capricorn in the 6th house. So this is going to be the emotional success, maturation that Spirit and the full moon wants to illuminate. So we have the unmarked trail revelation, card 57 coming through, and it came in reverse. So to me, this indicates that a lot of my Capricorns in the 6th house, you have just made peace with this energy. Because when we first see this card, unmarked trail revelation, it can be a little daunting. We think unmarked trail, that means I'm going to have to go forth, forage, create my own trail. And then revelation. This means that things aren't always shown or shared with us right away. They're revealed in due timing. And this can cause a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And it's interesting because as I look at this card, I'm feeling weighed down by it. Just kind of like this pressure and this compression happening from this energy at the top here upon this kind of stack of like, I don't even know if these are rocks. We'll call them rocks. This kind of pressure and compression upon these rocks. And you might have been feeling this pressure along your spine. You might have been feeling random aches in your back. You might have also been feeling this pressure within your skull and your head. You might have been experiencing headaches. And it's because there's been discomfort with not knowing the next steps. But with this card coming in reverse, you're kind of flowing with it. You're like, yeah, I'm on an unmarked trail. I have no idea where I'm necessarily going, but I'm being guided by something that will be revealed to me in due time. And this is a sign of deep trust and belief in the universe. You are doing it, Capricorn, in the 6th house. You are walking with spirit. This is what this means. Unmarked and revealed in due time, and fully knowing that whatever is meant for you will be. Congratulations, Capricorn in the 6th house. You're walking with spirit 1,000%. There's no doubt in my mind with this card being here in reverse today. If that's been something you've been looking to achieve, is just this oneness with spirit, you've done it. You are there. Take some time to celebrate this, because this is the path that often people try to get on, is the path to oneness with spirit, with the divine. You could attribute it to enlightenment, but it's much more humble than that. There's more humility here. And I feel that humility by the white here, that also is a sign of purity. And it's understanding and acknowledging that this path has not been easy. It's been very difficult. And I'm kind of seeing all these rocks here as testaments to all the challenges, the obstacles, the hardships you've been through. And now they're all being released. So if this resonates, please take the time to do some yoga movement. Really focus on decompressing your spine. If you've been having headaches or migraines, maybe massaging your scalp. Doing a hair mask if that feels supportive. Really acknowledging both these body parts right now, your scalp and your spine, in celebration of this achievement. Because this is what a lot of people are after, Capricorn in the 6th house, and you've done it. It hasn't always been easy, and it's not always easy. Let's see what else wants to come through. Oh, and you have a lot of spirit guides around you. Because as I look at this card, there's like these little orbs of light. So these are your spirit guides over here, and this is pure divine light on this other side, walking with you. And illuminating your aura too. So for some of my Capricorns in the 6th house, you're definitely going to feel a glow up or experience a glow up, either starting under this full moon or in the upcoming weeks. Your ancestors also are coming through to say they are very proud of you. And your progress upon this path is also indicated in the numbers as well. So we have 5 and 7. So 5 is a symbol of challenge, of difficulty, of struggle, of chaos, of change. So that's the energy you're leaving behind, because you're now embodying the energy of the 7, which to me, the 7 is just full spiritual mastery. There's a complete alignment in terms of all energetic levels, your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. Your soulful self is the energy that comes to the table first and foremost. And things are going to be getting more magical and whimsical for you, Capricorn in the 6th house. Don't you worry. Fun stuff is up ahead. So for today, acknowledge how far you have come and all these steps you have walked upon your spiritual path. I'm kind of seeing these rocks as like stepping stones right now, and you are here. You've made it. So take some time and celebrate everything that you are and everything you've survived and you've surmounted. Congratulations. We're now moving into Capricorn in the 7th house to highlight the emotional acknowledgement, success that Spirit wants to highlight and that the full moon wants to illuminate for you. That's too many cards. Interesting. All right, so we have, I'm just gonna reposition myself here. Get my butt out. All right. So Capricorn in the 7th house, we have stranger curiosity. 53. So there's a lot of movement in this card for Capricorn in the 7th. Some of you might have been traveling lately, going to forests. Others of you might be traveling up to mountains or going to see mountains. With having Capricorn in the 7th house, the 7th house rules marriage, it rules business relationships and partnerships and just relations with other people. And being drawn to this person's kind of Zen-like energy. You can see that there's a lot of movement. There's water down here, there seems to be wind, there's fire and things like that. But that person seems serene. So the emotional accomplishment that's being highlighted for Capricorn in the 7th house is that peacefulness, is that serenity coming through. And that even though people might be kind of throwing spitfire at you, you are able to remain calm and composed and centered. Which is really interesting because I'm hearing that for some of my Capricorns in the 7th house, things might have been heated or might get heated within the workspace, within business relationships and connections, but you're going to be able to remain Zen. For some of you, this Zen-like energy has always been within you. If that's the case, I'm very happy for you. For others of you, it's been through developing supportive practices. For some of you, I'm definitely picking up on yoga. I'm picking up on breathing exercises. I'm picking up Tai Chi, and any practice where you are anchored and practicing mindfulness is what has contributed to this Zen-like energy. If you would like to embody more of this Zen-like energy, tapping into such practices might be supportive for you at this time. I'm just really picking up that Capricorn in the 7th house. A lot of you are just powerhouses when it comes to your business relationships. You're just that solid rock that anybody and everybody goes to for sage advice and counsel, especially within the workspace. And that this sage counsel that you offer others has to do with the peace and the Zen energy you've cultivated within yourself. And that's really the aspect of you that's being illuminated under this full moon. And for some of you, I'm getting that you might just be like, this is just the way I am. There's nothing special about it. Spirit's saying, yes, it is special. Because not everybody's able to hold that grounded space for chaos. And I'm hearing that for some of my Capricorns in the 7th house, your workspace, your work businesses or whatever you do professionally might be kind of turbulent and chaotic at times, but you're able to just be that grounded force, that nothing moves you. And people go to you because of your energy. Yes, your advice is amazing, but sometimes just being in your presence is enough to soothe people that have been taken by this turbulence or their own inner chaos. And the full moon is coming through to illuminate this aspect and to remind you to enjoy this aspect of yourself, to celebrate it. Because I'm hearing that some of you do take it for granted. And Spirit is saying, no, not everybody has this talent or this ability that their mere presence alone is able to calm another. And that is worth celebrating and acknowledging. I'm going to take another sip of water. Yeah, with the 53 here, we have the 5, we have the 3. As mentioned, 5 can be chaos, it's change, it's challenge. And then we have the 3, which is Empress, unconditional love. And together the 5 and the 3 make an 8, which is strength in the tarot. So for Capricorn in the 7th house, you display a lot of strength, whether you're aware of this or not. But that strength is also being illuminated under this full moon and worthy of acknowledgement. I'm also picking up that some of my Capricorns in the 7th house are incredible mentors for others. So if you mentor others either professionally or informally, this is being highlighted at this time and worthy of acknowledgement as well. So that's all I'm getting for Capricorn in the 7th house. We're now going to move into Capricorn in the 8th house. So if you have this placement or this energy resonates, this is going to be your message, finding out what emotional aspect of yours is being highlighted and illuminated at this time. Ooh, that flew out. Okay, so we have First Breath, Beginner's Mind, 21. Okay, so for those of you that have Capricorn in the 8th house, this is a power placement. So for those of you on the spiritual path or seeking mastering this life, you are going to achieve it. And you are on your way. And in a similar fashion, I think, to Capricorn in the 1st house, Spirit is coming through to say you need to acknowledge how far you've come. A lot of you have overcome very dark periods in your life. Very dark. I'm talking about maybe some addiction, near-death experiences for some of you. There might have been assaults and things like that, and you have survived and overcome them, and a lot of you are beginning to thrive. The visual I'm getting right now is my blooming cactuses. They're a cactus, they have pricklies, you know, people kind of tend to not like them because they're prickly. I love cactuses, but they're blooming right now. And Capricorn in the 8th house, you are blooming. And my Capricorn, my cactus is right here. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to grab it. Look at this. You know, the camera's not really doing it justice, but it's very interesting because I'm being called to attribute you, Capricorn in the 8th house, to this cactus right now. And I can't really do it justice, but it has a crown of flowers. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 flowers on the top kind of coming in and sprouting. And that's a symbol of you, Capricorn, in the 8th house. You have been through tremendous shit, is what I'm picking up on. And you have, what's the word? Stood the test of time, of trials, of tribulations. You have survived, and now you are blossoming. And it's interesting because we see this cactus, and especially this one, the little thorns like hook in and stuff like that. And we can think like, oh my God, we don't want to approach and stuff like that. But you approach a cactus with respect and reverence. And that's you, Capricorn, in the 8th house. You've been through shit. And if people aren't approaching you with the right respect or reverence, they are not your people. And believe me, you are so divinely protected. That's why you've survived all that shit, that the divine itself will remove anybody not meant to be in your life. If they're not coming with the intended respect and reverence for the shit you have been through, Spirit is just going to be like, move it along, get the fuck out. Because you are worthy of this crown. You have done the inner work. You have survived really fucked up shit, is what I'm getting. And this is the era where you bloom, where you blossom, and you show your beauty. And again, it's beauty that needs to just be revered. Like, I love my cactus, but I don't take it for granted. And again, I approach it with caution and respect. And Capricorn, the 8th house, that's the energy you also display. And this is just a really random segue. These flowers smell beautiful. But again, as I approach to smell them, I approach very cautiously as to not be stabbed by their little thornies. But yeah, so Capricorn, the 8th house, you're this beautiful blossoming cactus, and that's what wants to be acknowledged for you at this point in time. You've overcome a lot of adversity, more so than the regular human being has. And the full moon is just illuminating all that mastery, all that wisdom you've gained through trauma, and certain traumas you haven't even shared with anyone. And it's interesting because you have let the darkest of experiences forge your inner power and strength. And it's understanding that this darkness has forged this strength. And again, it has happened in darkness. So a lot of the character development has happened behind the scenes. It's not stuff anybody has seen. So again, I'm being called and drawn to my cactuses, where we think of just a cactus just sprouting and sprouting, and then all of a sudden it blooms. And that's you, Capricorn, in the 8th house. You are going to, if you are not already blooming, you are going to. And I find it interesting because I got these cactuses, and they were just baby cactuses. I got them, I think it was in 2018. I never thought they would be blossoming and flowering. And mind you, it has grown tremendously. It used to just be like that size there, and now it's this big thing. The blossoms took me by surprise. The flowers are spectacular and they smell really good. So that's you, Capricorn, in the 8th house. You might blossom and bloom, and it might just take you by surprise. Not even expect it. You might just find yourself in a scenario that would have otherwise maybe triggered you or upset you because of these darker experiences you've undergone. But now you remain calm. It doesn't faze you because you're completely in your power. And that is what the full moon is illuminating for you, Capricorn, in the 8th house. You are in your motherfucking power. And all the experiences that you never thought you'd survive have shaped you into this master of darkness. And that's where power is. And it usually terrifies people. But this is true power, Capricorn, in the 8th house, and you have done it. You've made it. I know it hasn't been easy. I know it hasn't been easy. But acknowledge your power and how far you've come and what you've survived. You're absolutely brilliant, and there's a lot of success on the horizon for you. So that's all I'm picking up for Capricorn in the 8th house. We're now going to move into Capricorn in the 9th house. So any emotional mastery or successes that want to come through. So let's see. Ooh, okay. So we have repairing the veil, forgiveness. 45 coming through for Capricorn in the 9th house. And I was going to say for Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So that's very interesting. So there could be something going on for you, Capricorn, in the 9th house. You could meet a Sagittarius, or there could be an interesting connection between your Capricorn in the 9th house and wherever Sagittarius is in your birth chart. I'm not going to brain map you right now. I don't have the energetic space to do that right now. So looking at your chart, wherever Capricorn is, be it the 9th, and wherever Sagittarius is sitting also. And then we also have the 9 coming through. So there's a lot of energy highlighting the 9th house right now. So as I mentioned, we are covering Capricorn in the 9th house, but you could have planets forming certain aspects to this house right now, or certain transits, because there's a lot of electricity. I'm being drawn to looking at these bows, but also like there seems to be like little sparks of electricity moving up and down. So maybe you have Capricorn in Uranus in your 9th house, or Neptune, or even Pluto. And with the full moon in this house, it's illuminating aspects of either Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto for you. And it's going to unlock things like a bow, is what I'm hearing. This is very interesting. Okay, I'm getting a lot of different stuff coming through for Capricorn in the 9th house. For some of you, you might have had spinal cord issues, and those are going to be resolved in the upcoming weeks or months. Hearing maybe a year for some of you, but like that's very few of you. It's mainly weeks and months, because I'm kind of feeling and seeing this pillar as a spinal cord. And then there's been this bow, this ribbon around, kind of tied in to support the spine as it heals, as it recovers. But then you're really getting kind of Uranian energy, Kundalini energy moving up and down this spine to the point where it's going to completely rejuvenate your spine from the inside out, and you're not going to need this supportive ribbon anymore. So interesting. I'm really getting the imagery between energy flowing from your root chakra all the way to your crown chakra, which are known as Kundalini activations and awakenings. So I'm definitely sensing that for Capricorns in the 9th house. So either you've been through one recently and it's really activated you, or you're going to be going through one in the upcoming weeks or months. And it's really going to unlock certain aspects of you that you never even considered or contemplated. We also have repairing the veil, but it's the word veil that's really catching my attention right now. So for some of my Capricorns in the 9th house, you might really start to tap into the other side. You might start connecting with spirit guides on a more frequent basis. And if you've been seeking this connection and it's been difficult, things are going to open up for you, making it a lot easier. And with the 4 and the 5 here, I'm definitely getting that you are moving up a step. You are progressing. So even though you might not have felt as though you've been progressing lately, you are. The progress has possibly been slow for many of you, but you will be taking that next step if you haven't already. And you're going to really feel that forward momentum. For some of you, butterflies are one of your spirit animals that want to come through and support you at this time. And then we also have like a sewing kit here. So for some of you, getting creative at this time might be supportive. So if I had to kind of frame this in terms of like emotional success or accomplishment, I'm kind of getting an unraveling, a releasing of something. We also have the word repairing here. So there's something being repaired. Again, I'm seeing kind of spinal energy, but this could be something completely different as well. We are in the 9th house. The 9th house has to do with our inner philosophy. It has to do with travel, education, higher learning. That's interesting. Really random. For some of you, it's going to be traveling to repair a bridge and communication with a relative. This isn't for many of you. This is for like a select couple of you, but that's coming through. So most likely you will be traveling and you will happen to repair this connection with this relative. But I'm definitely picking up a lot of healing for Capricorn in the 9th house. So if there's something in regards to like your physical health that has been bothering you, there's an influx of energy that's coming through. The other message I'm getting with the fact that this card was in reverse is there's a need to go with the flow for Capricorn in the 9th house and to allow this healing, this reparation to happen. I'm also sensing that for a lot of my Capricorns in the 9th house, a lot of you are loosening your grip. You are going with the flow more and you're stressing less about things that are out of your control. And that's really the emotional aspect that wants to be highlighted for you at this time, is your ability to let go more and to release and to not stress. So Spirit is really coming through to applaud you for being more kind of loose and flowy. And again, to just stay in that state of flow, because it's going to allow this energy to move effortlessly up and down your spine, really activating you and clearing out any blocks that might still be lingering. So Capricorn in the 9th house, a lot of healing on the horizon for you. And it's the fact that you've cultivated enough inner space to allow it to do its thing that's being illuminated under this full moon and acknowledged. So congratulations and good job for creating that space for yourself. All right, so that was Capricorn in the 9th house. We're now going to move into Capricorn in the 10th house. So let's see, emotional mastery or success or accomplishment that wants to be highlighted at this time. That's too many cards. Let's see. Okay, so for Capricorn in the 10th house, we have the farther gate, bold step forward. 55 coming through. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. So I can't remember. I think it was the 2nd house that was also completing a cycle. So Capricorn in the 10th house, you are completing a cycle. A big one. Though you might not know it, and things might have been difficult for you as of late, you're completing a huge, huge soul cycle is what I'm getting. So soul cycles, as opposed to like emotional, physical cycles, targets multiple areas at once. So let's say if you're in an emotional cycle, it's your emotions that are going to be targeted. If it's physical, it could be your physical health. When it's a soul cycle, it's all aspects of the self that are being targeted in order to facilitate growth. And this growth isn't always easy because you are being hammered emotionally, you are being hammered physically, you are being hammered energetically. And it's for your soul light and wisdom to come through. So you are going through this gate, or have been approaching this gate, I should say, and you're going to cross the threshold. So things are going to feel easier for you soon. There's still some challenges on the horizon for you, but it's going to be until you get this to this further gate here. Once you get through that further gate, there's just this light that's going to radiate out of you, and things are going to get a lot easier. But first you need to go through this hardship. And hardship it is, because I'm just going to take a sip of water. Capricorn doesn't like it easy. Okay? It's not called the mountain goat for no reason. So for you, Capricorn in the 10th house, you've liked it hard. And Spirit is like, okay, meeting that request. But it's understanding that it's shaping you for a greater purpose, a greater reason. Because look, you have the divine's blessing coming through as you cross this threshold and take that step and head towards that further gate. The divine has been walking with you this whole time, even though you might not always feel that way. And this is your next kind of, the word obstacle is what wants to come through, but I'd say it's mainly the distance between this gate and the next one that's going to be your obstacle. But once you cross this gate, there's a lot of success waiting for you. So the emotional, spiritual accomplishment that's being highlighted is your endurance, is your resilience, is your ability to hang on, even though life might not have been very good to you so far. It's your ability to hang on, take it one step at a time, one day at a time, in the hopes that something better is coming towards you. And it is. It's right here. So I definitely see this November is coming out. So November, you're really going to start to feel this light and this lightness return to your life, because I'm kind of feeling this kind of gloomy dread energy around you right now because of these obstacles and this hardship that you have been moving through. But you just need to keep going a little further and take time to rest if you need it, because I'm definitely sensing that the obstacles have been heavy, especially mentally, and that you need more sleep. And it's knowing that even if you allow more sleep and more rest, you're still going to get to that gate, because the divine is leading your steps. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that wants to come through for Capricorn in the 10th house. Being able to focus on the occasional beauty upon your path till you get to this luminosity over here is going to help alleviate the heaviness you've been feeling. So focusing on the beauty of a flower or on the beauty of a painting, whatever it is, find that beauty if you can in everyday life, and it's going to help alleviate this heaviness that I'm feeling for Capricorn in the 10th house. And just keep moving slowly. Day by day, that's all you can do. And that luminosity is coming. And the divine is watching over you. You are not alone. And you are completing a huge soul cycle. And again, I'm kind of getting the end date for the soul cycle. Whatever it is, will be around November. From whenever you are watching this. So hang on, Capricorn in the 10th house. Yes, you have been through a lot, but there is light. It's coming. Hang on. And if you have the energy and space, because I'm sensing that a lot of my Capricorns in the 10th house are very tired, take some time to celebrate your ability to hang on and to display resilience in very harsh and adverse conditions, because it's not a skill set that many people have. So take some time, even if your celebration is resting, is taking a nap, is taking a bath, please do so for yourself. So that's all I'm getting for Capricorn in the 10th house. We're now going to move into Capricorn in the 11th house to see what kind of emotional success or mastery is being highlighted for you at this point in time. That one flew out. Let's see. Okay, so Capricorn in the 11th house, we have Will-o'-the-Wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows. Card 62. I feel like a lot of 8 energy has been coming through, which is strength. So a lot of strength is being highlighted for Capricorns at this point in time. It's not always pleasant to hear, because sometimes we get tired of being strong all the time, but Spirit is still coming through to acknowledge the strength that Capricorn displays and possess. And it's understanding that everybody has Capricorn somewhere in their birth charts. And wherever Capricorn sits in your birth chart is an area where you will be called upon to develop a lot of strength. Resilience and endurance as well. So Capricorn in the 11th house, let's see. So right away what I'm picking up on is your intuitive abilities, your ability to actually sense and pick up on other people's emotions and energies. Capricorn in the 11th house, you might actually be an empath. You might be highly psychic. You might be a highly sensitive person. And all those aspects and energies are being highlighted for you at this time. I'm kind of being called to just show this card for Capricorn in the 11th house, because there's a lot of spiritual energy around this card right now for Capricorn in the 11th. And as we've been focusing on highlighting more so the emotional aspects of you that are in need of acknowledgement and celebration, it is your spirituality for a lot of my Capricorns in the 11th house. And I'm also hearing that for a lot of my Capricorns in the 11th house, you might not be publicly displaying this spirituality. It's remained a hidden treasure in the shadows. But Spirit is coming through to highlight this aspect of you. And the full moon is also illuminating it. And all the souls you've helped, because as we look closer to this card, we see like a bunch of just like butterflies everywhere. And then we see kind of like this main kind of being here. And all these other butterflies, I'm seeing them as souls you, Capricorn, in the 11th house, have helped. Whether anyone was watching or not, you still chose to help and give to others. And that's being celebrated right now. Yeah, I'm really picking up Capricorn in the 11th house. Like, you guys are strong, like, mystiques and seers and visionaries. And that's not an aspect a lot of people know about you. And I guess if I had to put into words kind of like the sensations I'm getting through my body right now, is your devotion to spirit. And that for a lot of you, you've kept that as a prized treasure and haven't shared that with anybody. And that connection and devotion to spirit has been forged through hardship. Because we have the 62 here, which makes an 8. So 8, again, is associated with strength. So we don't develop strength by wishing to be strong. We're usually put in scenarios where we have no other choice but to be strong. So Capricorn in the 11th house. I'm also picking up Neptune energy for Capricorn in the 11th house. So you might have you might have Neptune in Capricorn, or your Capricorn house might have certain celestial bodies forming certain aspects with Neptune, but there's definitely Neptune energy coming through. There's also Piscean energy coming through. So looking at wherever those energies are in your birth chart might be very supportive for you at this time. And it's interesting because out of all the houses, this is the first house where Spirit is coming through to just really applaud your psychic and spiritual and emotional intuitive gifts. Gifts that you might take for granted and not really realize they're a gift. And gifts that you might actually keep hidden and not really share with people. But that's what's coming through, and that's what the full moon is illuminating, is your psychic gifts and talents, and saying celebrate them, because actually not everybody has them. So that's all I'm getting for Capricorn in the 11th house. Feel free to let me know how that resonates or doesn't resonate. We are now going to move into Capricorn in the 12th house, highlighting any emotional aspect that deserves to be celebrated or acknowledged under this full moon. So let's see. Capricorn in the 12th house. All right, so we have deep diver, diving into a task. Number 10. And this card also came in reverse. So quite a few reversals in today's reading. And to me, this is indicating that Capricorn energy is breaking through a lot of barriers, which is quite significant. All right, so the first thing I'm picking up for Capricorn in the 12th house is that a lot of you are deeply emotional and feeling. And this isn't a side that you often show people, because the 12th house is the house of spirituality, is the house of the subconscious, and it's a more kind of hidden house, similar to the 8th house. So your ability to deeply feel and sense is being illuminated right now. And we also have fun little jellyfish. So jellyfish could be an animal spirit guide coming through to support you. And it's your ability to go with the flow. And similar to the 11th house, you're very intuitive, very empathic, and very psychic. A lot of you Capricorns in the 12th house are meant to be healers, or really intertwine healing into your profession and career. Because it's interesting, we're having the interplay of water and earth in this house. As I was talking about in the beginning of this live, Capricorn has a fishtail. So Capricorn is inherently connected to water. And right now we have Capricorn in a water house, with having Capricorn in the 12th house, which is traditionally ruled by Pisces. So we have extra kind of fish water energy. And if we think of fish, they just move effortlessly in water. And water is the emotional realm. It's the ethereal realm. It's spirituality. So for those of you that have Capricorn in the 12th house, there's an ease in connecting with spirituality, maybe modalities, maybe receiving insights and downloads and just psychic activations. And you have a natural ability to just take it all in and to really dive deeply into all of it and to be receptive. I wouldn't be surprised if some of your friends have experiences that they don't share with anybody else but you, because you just inherently get them. And what's really being highlighted for Capricorn in the 12th house is your ability to compassionately connect with others and receive them. I'm kind of getting like wise grandmother and like grandfather energy from this placement. You just hold space for everybody's experiences, good, bad, mystical, strange. You have space for all of it because you are as deep as the ocean itself. And what I'm picking up for Capricorn in the 12th house, with the 10 being here, is highlighting your mastery when it comes to emotions. For a lot of my Capricorns in the 12th house, though you might not know it just yet, you are emotional masters. You embody that mastery by how you hold space for others. And that's really being illuminated under this full moon, is just your ability to hold it all and to be present with it, which is a rare gift that not many people have. And I'm also sensing that for my Capricorns in the 12th house, you have a very intimate connection with the divine. I'm seeing this light here as the divine, as this being is just diving into the depths of darkness. So I'm not picking up as much for my Capricorns in the 12th house as I did for my Capricorns in the 8th house, but you've also been through some very challenging experiences, and it's the divine's protection and willpower that has ensured your safety through it all, and will continue to ensure your safety as you dive even deeper and experience different things throughout your life. So what's really being illuminated is the sacred connection to the divine for my Capricorns in the 12th house. And that this is actually one of your power points, your power anchors, is this intimate connection to the divine, is your ability to dive in deep, is your ability to see through illusion. So again, similar to Capricorn in the 11th house, it's just illuminating all these gifts and abilities that you might just take for granted and not really see as anything special, but that are inherently special. And I did see the jellyfish as animal spirit guides, but they could also be ancestors coming through watching over you as you dive in deeper into yourself. So I'm definitely sensing for my Capricorns in the 12th house, you are going to live a very mystical life. And that you're already on this path, you're already living it, and that's what's being highlighted and acknowledged at this point in time. It's just the beauty and the mysticism of your life. So those are all the messages I'm getting for Capricorn in the 12th house. I hope that these messages were supportive for you under this full moon. And if ever you are seeking additional support, feel free to check out my website, iamthedragongoddess.com. Take a look at my services, and we could always get on a free consultation call and connect and see if we would be a good fit to work together. I'm sending you so much love.